time on tonight, and we'll definitely want you to check in with us. We're coming in tonight just with a preview of it. We're scheduled to be on every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, and we're guaranteed to be um, on the network. Hopefully at 1 o'clock Monday through Friday. So we're hoping to be there in that situation and actually have a prompt conversation with political talk. We're going to really get off into it. We have a special guest with us on tonight, and certainly we're excited to have him with us, Mr. Robert Thomas out of Shreveport, Louisiana. He's been doing news bracket for a while now, and we're excited to have him with us. Let's bring him in as he help with our political talk and have a political talk with us. And we're happy to have him. Let's welcome him in, Mr. Robert Thomas. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Apostle?
All right, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We're happy to have you here with us on live tonight with political talk as we get off into this. And I need to let the audience know before we get started, this is only a preview of what we're going to be talking about. This is not a full length show tonight. It's just a preview of what's going to be happening and what are we going to be talking about on the political level. um, I want the audience to keep in mind. I want you to really keep in mind that if we have our conversation, we're having opinions are always welcome, but we're going to be dealing with actual facts on this show. We're going to be dealing with true information, not doctored up information of any sort of information. This is ground for political talk. There will be video shared. We will share it. We will be commenting on it and bringing you true news from EFI Television Network Political Talk. We're going to do the best of covering on all leverage. On all leverage, we'll continue to deal with. We're going to deal with the Democratic, the Republican Party. I like to put Republican Party first, then the Democrat Party. We're going to be dealing with all sorts of news. So join us 1 o'clock p.m. Monday through Friday on here. And Mr. Rob, what you think? You think 1 o'clock good? Do we need? I think we need to really start at 2 o'clock. What do you think?
For right now, whatever time that you set will be good because I'm kind of in between jobs, so my time will be open. So whatever's more feasible and works better for you, that would
Okay,
be good for me.
so let's service it at 2 p.m. Let's service
Okay.
it at 2 p.m. Giving a slot for leaving that 1 o'clock slot open for another person who has that spot. And I just holler out when I'm about to change that advertisement up. I gotta change it because I forgot. It just dawned on me. So again, it's just a preview of what we got going on. So we're gonna take the 2 o'clock hour Monday through Friday to bring you um, uh, uh, news, updated news of what's going on and what to deal with. So we're gonna start off tonight. Let's talk about parties. Now, I want the people to understand, Mr. Robert. I am a Republican. I have to say that I am, and I believe in it. And I'm going to be covering, the Republican side and why I didn't choose the Democratic side. And this is not a prejudice station. We're not getting on here going into racism and all that when it comes down to party. Now we will deal with racism, period, but we're not going to deal with prejudice of racism. I mean, of the party. That's what I want to get to. And I'm baffling again. This is just our warm up night.
Yeah. Practice
Apologies.
run.
Yeah, and that's what we want to deal with. We don't want to be. We're going to remain biased, but we're going to stand for what is right on the side of the party who is right, if that makes sense. So let's get off into it. I've wasted enough time talking. On this, Mr. Rob, come on, tell us about you and your news setup. Because I noticed you are the real news #3 right there in Shreveport, Louisiana. My hometown at that. This is my
Yeah.
hometown. Born and raised, Shreveport, Louisiana, Cooper Road. If you ain't heard, you better.
Cooper Road. Yeah, you ain't missing nothing, Pastor. You ain't missing nothing in Shreveport. Oh, for real.
Yeah.
First and foremost, just a little brief about myself. My name again is Robert R. Thomas Jr. I have a platform called The Real News Behind the News. I started The Real News Behind the News actually about, I think it was 2017. Just keep it real, Pastor. I had just beat a life sentence over in Bossier City for basically selling marijuana. And at that time, my son was 2 years old.
Right.
And just the thought of me not being there for my child really put me in a different mind frame while I was fighting that charge. And I'm going to be real, Pastor. The Most High God came up and showed out and brought me out of that jailhouse with no prison time. So ever since then, I had got off into community activism.
Right.
And the Most High blessed us to do a lot of things.
Right.
And I started becoming more and more politically conscious, especially since I realized that we are in a system.
Right.
Whether you're in prison or not. This whole life that we live in America is a system. I call it a false reality.
Right.
Now, me, I'm not a Democrat or Republican.
Right.
I'm in the middle. People tell me sometimes you got to choose a side. No, because if you choose a side, you become a part of tribalism. Think about this, Pastor. Anytime you're in competition, there's always a red corner and a blue corner.
Yeah.
Republicans red, Democrats blue.
Right.
Crips blue, Bloods red. When you're boxing or wrestling, in the red corner or the blue corner. Basically, what they will have done with this political system that we have in America is basically divided us up, divide and conquer.
Right.
We're too busy fighting each other on a primal level here in our neighborhoods, our city, our state. I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, that the Democrats and Republicans who's in office are taking advantage of all of us because we're too busy fighting each other. So I stay in the middle because I always believe the only way, there's three sides of the story. There's this side, that side, and in the middle, there's the truth. So I try to stand in the middle and be that peacemaker because, again, I'm not a religious person. I do believe in God, but I don't even subscribe to a religion. You know what I'm saying? But if we're divided, we can't stand together. I lost my train of thought for a second, but that's the way I look at it. Because God say, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God." So when the Democrats and Republicans are fighting, I try to be that uniting force to bring peace and understanding.
Right. So how long have you been in this, the Real News Behind the News? How long have you been doing it?
I would say right now about 8 years, a little bit over 7 years.
Right. Okay, so you got a lot of experience in this. I've watched the political channel. I've watched Fox News, CNN News, and other news on different networks. And there's a party that do a lot of lying on there. And I'll challenge him. We're going to get off into it at a later date when we set horses starting next week to be coming live every week, next Monday. But I do want to get off into the reality of these parties and how they have over the years bewitched the community. I want to actually touch a base right now tonight with you about leaders such as Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. I
Ah,
know we're going to talk about it, we're just touching it, but they have lied to the community for years. And I noticed that we have an uprising with Ben Crump, whose behavior has displaying the same behavior. I'm just being honest with you. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton have never done nothing for the Negro community. I'm going to just keep it real. I'm
they
not
can't.
scared to talk about it. I think Roland Martin has sold out himself as well, and none of these other Negroes that have been in office have done anything to help the minority community, but endorse bad behaviors such as uh, help loosen homosexuality to live in our community, promote jail aspects to putting most of us in prison that they possibly can to make a dollar and then lie and hide behind the dollar. I think the Democratic Party have pocketed more of our money than any other political party that have. I believe that the Democratic Party has been a sold entity who have sold out the Negro community. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first and foremost, the only time I watch the news here in America, mainstream news, is when I want to find out what they are lying to us about.
Oh, okay.
We don't. I used to work. I used to work for an NBC affiliate when I first moved back to Shreveport. I used to work for Channel Six,
Right.
and I learned how they manipulate.
Right.
They call it television programming for a reason. If
Right.
you're a Democrat, you're going to watch MSNBC, CNN, and those channels. If you're a Republican, you're going to pretty much watch Fox or other independent stations. But all politicians really play a game with us. Now with the Democrats, I cannot. I'm gonna just be real. I'm not a Republican. I don't have too much love for neither one of the parties, but I hate the Democrats.
Right.
And again, we have been so brainwashed as black people by this Democratic Party that again, you have some people who will not listen to reason simply because it does not go along with the narrative that
Uh,
the Democrats put out. Again, you touched on something. If you call yourself a pastor, a believer in God, a church going person, someone who has a strong spiritual foundation, how can you even serve the Democratic Party when they trying to tell my son that if he want to be a girl,
it's
all
okay.
he got to do, it cut his penis off, and he
Oh
can
my
he
goodness.
can walk around as a girl. Now think about it. The Democrats are so diehard with this alternative agenda
Right.
that me as a grown man, just say I got an 8-year-old daughter,
Right.
they want it to the point where some old pervert with a hairy lip and a wig, a beard bigger than mine, all he do is put on a dress and he identify as a woman.
And
He
he
can go into a
okay
public
with that.
bathroom in a lot of places with my child, and
Right.
I can't go in there and protect my child. So the Democrats are on the fringe issues. They do not have a policy or a platform, so they put Negroes like Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Roland Martin. They
Right.
put these Negroes in front of us,
Uh-huh.
trumpeting their talking points, and we're supposed to follow them. Now, let me show you the secret to that. Reason why they do that. Because right after slavery, in order to control the Negro population, the slave owners and those who were, just say racist or white supremacists or whatever,
Right.
they knew the one way that they could control the Negro population was to get the black preacher. Notice the black preacher was the only one they allowed to read. They'll
My,
get this black
my.
preacher, give him a nice suit and a nice necktie, necktie with some shiny shoes. And you know, Negro, we like shiny stuff. Anything that's shiny, we like it. So this is how they bamboozled us. And
Right.
when you try to tell them, do you realize that the Democrats was the party of the slave owners? Do you
Right.
realize the Democrats created Jim Crow? Do
Right.
you realize it was the Democrats who created the Ku Klux Klan?
Yeah.
Do you realize in what there was 1992, it was the Democrats, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, and all those who created the crime reform bill, which starts sending our people to prison in
That's
record numbers.
wait.
So the
All this
Democrats, what they think they can do is just tease us with social benefits. We're gonna give you more food stamps. We're gonna
right.
give you a little bit more welfare. And Negroes follow that. But this is why I mean, now as far as the Republicans are basically like pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you can make it in this American dream of ours. But first of all, it's just a dream. I mean, they call it the American dream.
Mr. Rock,
Go ahead.
before we go any further, wasn't it the Democratic who signed that 3-time loser law to send the men's minority, especially, to jail?
That was the crime reform bill. Bill Clinton, Joe Biden. In 1992, they created the crime reform bill.
And Bill Clinton.
3 strikes, you're out.
Right. They signed that bill. Bill Clinton as the president, Joe Biden signed that, and these are the Democrat leaders that they claim. Now, this is what you hear Negroes saying. Bill Clinton was the most Negro president, black president for us.
Man, if you believe that, I got a bridge that go across the Red River called the Texas Street Bridge. I'll sell you to it for $4.75 and a box of chicken. If you believe it. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were 2 of the worst people, because you got to realize this. I'm going to show you how it all worked out.
Right.
Now, you go back to Reagan,
Right.
under the Contra affair. You got to realize our government is the biggest drug dealers
Right.
on the planet. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, and when you hear Whitewater, that little situation that they had, it was a scandal. What they were doing, they were funneling money from the CIA into I guess you could call it like a credit union or a savings and loan. Make a long story short, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were responsible for the crack cocaine epidemic because they were laundering the money and drugs were being shipped from wherever they came from around the world. And one of the biggest stopping points was in Little Rock, Arkansas, when Bill Clinton was the governor.
Right.
Yeah. Bill Clinton was nothing more than a big drug dealer. So this is how they come up with the crime reform bill. They put crack cocaine in our neighborhoods, enhanced the sentencing laws, because before then, it was mostly just powder cocaine, and that was a rich man's drug.
Right.
They found a way to make it cheap and affordable. They flooded our communities because they wanted to break down organizations like the Black Panthers and other groups who were on the forefront of elevating the black community, to destabilize those communities. So what they did, they took the cocaine epidemic, used it to say if you get caught with cocaine 3 times, you're going to prison for the rest of your life.
Wow.
But yeah, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton was 2 of the worst people in political history. Notice, Hillary Clinton couldn't win an election against a fire hydrant. She was just that unlikable. Now, the Republicans are not that much far off because, again, all your politicians work for the corporations. They don't give a dang about us. They are all bought and sold. They're all bought and sold. They work for the corporations.
That's it. So when I learned about that 3-time loser law, the different states of the United States took advantage of it. They put it in You can go in the store and steal out a store 3 times a piece of bubble gum. Let's just say
Yeah.
Walmart, Target, and then Valero. Same piece of bubble gum, 25 cents. They turn it into a felony for you and throw you in prison for it.
And that's not what it was meant for. It was meant for felony. It was meant for felony crimes.
Right.
But again,
They
if
take
you get
3
caught
misdemeanors. They take 3 misdemeanors,
and make one felony,
misdemeanors, and they turn into a felony. That wasn't part of the law, but the states have taken it and ruined, and they are flipping it in order to make gainsake and monetary out off of the, especially the minority. Because I've seen it where the Caucasian get hit on the wrist for the same thing about 15, 20 times. But then they'll throw the minorities in prison for that same behavior if they committed 3 times. And if you are, and I want to talk about this more later, but we just touching bases. Negroes and minority have become a target. They want you to have a number against you with a prison number. That's what they want. And once they give you that prison number, they can try to excommunicate you from society. If they can't win you one way, they try to excommunicate you another way.
well, you have to go back to right after slavery when they created the 14th
Right.
Amendment
Right.
to the Constitution.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, Abraham Lincoln, which was a Republican, basically, Abraham Lincoln really didn't care about the slaves. He really cared more about the Union. He said, if I could save the Union without freeing one Negro, I would. Now, keep in mind, what happened under the 14th Amendment, they basically said, no person shall be held in captivity. They have the right to freedom, liberty, the right to pursue happiness, unless they get convicted of a felony.
Right.
Once you get convicted of a felony, let me show you something. Slavery has never stopped. Today, slavery is your government, your states are the slave owners. The penitentiaries are the slave ships. The guards and the wardens are the overseers, and the Negroes and other criminals are the slaves. Because once you get convicted of a felony and they say, I sentence you to a hard labor, you are sentenced to go out there and work in that field free, sun up to sundown, rain, sleet, or snow. You have become property of the state. Now, instead of one Master Johnson, Master Charlie owning his plantation, your state owns the plantation. Your federal government owns the federal plantation. The federal. So you have to go back and look. They set the laws, even in your Constitution, against us once slavery was over. So you can't, again, because the Republicans are just as diehard about the private prison complex as the Democrats. So when it comes down to it, you got to look at it. That's a big industry.
It is.
The private prison industry is a big industry.
That's money. When I say that's money, it's money. It's money. It's major money. And so when you're dealing with, I'm looking and see, and this is what I'm getting at. It's the people that look like me and you that are in office. They know this, and they're doing nothing about it because they got their hands in that pie too.
Exactly. That's why they can't do nothing about it, because if they try to really speak out and really create criminal or reform in the criminal justice system, they're going to lose a lot of political donations.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. Politics is nothing but money. You stop and think about it. You have 4 or 5 industries that's big money makers that the politicians depend on during campaign season for most of their donations. You and I might give them $5, $6. But you remember that judge up there in Pennsylvania that got caught? He was a juvenile judge. He got caught basically selling little kids to the private prison industry in Pennsylvania. What he
Right.
would do, he would sentence them. They'd come in with a trivial crime, nothing real serious, and he was given a major time. You got to realize, but like here in Louisiana, for every inmate that gets sentenced to the state prison, you getting almost $100 a day for that one inmate. Now
Right.
imagine you got 1,000 inmates just in 2 prisons.
Right.
1,000 inmates. That's $100,000 a day that the private prison industrial complex makes
Woo.
every day. And
Now,
Louisiana, keep in mind, Louisiana per capita leads the world in incarceration, meaning China has 1 billion people. Louisiana barely has 5 million people, but per capita, for every 1,000 per people in the state of Louisiana, we have more people locked up than China with 1 billion people.
they was talking about that in UN. In the UN, I was watching a clip about it in the UN. The UN said that they have more people in prison than they got in their country on ground. That the United States had better make a change. They told that to Barack Obama, and then they told it to Joe Biden, and now they told Trump. This is why the defunding of the jails took place, the defunding of the police and all that area in the sheriff department has taken place. Now Trump is putting it back into rotation, but he's controlling the monetary that goes to the prison and all that. So you now down here in Texas, TDC is caving in. TDC is going under. They're closing so many prisons now because the federal funding has stopped. So what they were doing was taking the prison and putting us in there. And when I say us, I mean the minority. Of course, you'll find the Caucasian man and others. But now the population of the prison system, if they didn't put us in the ground by killing us with drugs and guns and gang violence, which they introduced to the Negro community, now they're saying, okay, we can't get them that way. We're going to set up another way, which called domestic violence. Domestic violence, we're going to touch on this real heavy, where the female can actually tell the lie on the male. And because of that Wade 2 law, what is that, Me Too and that Wade law, they was able to succeed. Thank God for Trump, who seen this mess and said, we're going to reform this mess and get this out of here, where females can just actually pick up the phone and tell the lie that a man hit her. And because she don't want him with that other woman, or because he moved on with his life, she would raise havoc and do all kind of wrong things and then lie, and then the courts will pick it up and believe this lie that the female told and put him in jail. Now, he never hit the child. The truth is he never did anything to her, but because she has the privilege to lie, and because the system wants the minority man put in jail for that number, they will prosecute and then put him in jail. And if he can't afford an attorney because he don't have anybody to help him, they give him a court-appointed attorney who helps railroad him right into prison.
Yeah. Well, that goes back again to slavery.
Right.
Now, I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with the Willie Lynch letter.
Right.
But there was a part 2 to the Willie Lynch letter. In part 2, it's called the nigger marriage. It was literally called, I hope I don't offend nobody, but I'm just calling it was called the nigger marriage. What they did, what Willie Lynch did, he went on every plantation, he went to the plantation throughout the South. Because in the first letter, he said, I guarantee you, if you give me control of your niggas for a certain amount of time, I will have them so obedient that they will depend on us for the next 1,000 years at least, but at least for 300 because of indoctrination. Now, what they did, they always knew in order to control the black man, they had to have the black woman in a higher position than the black man. So what they did on the slave plantation, they took the biggest, strongest Negro No,
Right?
I'm talking about the
Oh,
Django. What that name of that movie was back in the 70s?
I'm trying to think of that
What that movie back in the 70s? Uh,
Mandingo. Mandingo.
Mandingo. They took the biggest Mandingo. And
Yeah,
you know what they did?
yeah.
They called all the slaves around. And they made
Right,
sure they had all the children looking, especially the little boys. And when
right.
they got him in the square, you know what they did? They bought one strong black Mandingo Negro and
Uh-huh.
they beat him to death
Yeah.
in
We
front
superstition.
of
Yeah,
all those slaves. And
right.
then they looked at the Negro woman and tell her, make sure that your son
I
stay
understand.
in line.
Uh-oh.
So in order for them to the sons to be compliant and the women to be compliant, they raise their boys to be docile. Get out there and work hard for master, but don't you ever challenge
Right,
master.
right. And to this day, when a Negro man like me and you, or any minority man that stands up in his home and challenges and threatens to take leadership, she got a problem.
Yeah. Well, she's been indoctrinated. Again, with this DEI thing that
Right?
they got. You gotta realize that benefits black women, Mexican women, women, I guess you could say minority women, because if I hire one black woman or one Hispanic woman, I done hired two minorities with one stroke. Now, guess what? If I hire a gay Negro that identifies as a woman, I done hired three minorities. So the system is set up against the black men because this
Period.
is why they didn't want us to read. This is why they didn't want us to be educated.
Yeah. Period. This is why they say the Negro woman is the black backbone of every Negro family.
But the Bible say, don't it? If you believe in the Bible, Quran, Torah, or whatever, it say God created who first? The man. When you
Man,
go to them, when you go to any other racial group houses, the man runs the house.
right.
They realized during, I think that was under Johnson, who created the Social Reform Act, who created welfare. We got to get that black man out the house. Don't the Bible say, how can you bind a strong man? How can you plunder a strong man's house? You got to take the man out the house first.
Yeah. And that's when they
So now what's happening?
That's when they put that law in place, Thomas, Mr. Thomas, and when they said for the Negro woman is to put him out and receive welfare, housing, and food stamp, that was to bring division in the home, which now we see what's happening in the street because of the women have raised the children worrying about her security more than the man that she had the children with. Now her security has cost the children in the street. Look at our children, man.
Let me show you why. Let me show you why, Apostle. Think about this. It's all about population control. Now, the Democrats is pushing this unholy agenda of homosexuality.
Yeah.
Put it like this. Two men cannot make a baby. If you're in prison, you cannot make a baby. If you're killing each other with gangbanging, you cannot make a baby. And if you're having babies out of wedlock and having abortions, you cannot have a baby. Think about this. We've been here longer, just as long as or longer than the white people. Why are we still a minority? Because we can't replenish and reproduce our numbers because we have a system that's set up to keep us from replenishing our numbers. We've been here 400 years, man. We still 12% of the population.
That's the assignment. The system is not broken. The system is doing what is exactly designed.
It's working fine. It's working fine. Now, let me show you something. Here we are now, 400 years after slavery, where when black folks first got out of slavery, you know the worst thing ever happened to Negroes in America?
Come on with it.
Segregation. As long as we were separated from them, we created our own stores. We created our own hospitals. We create our own schools. We create our own banks.
Right.
Once they showed a Negro these shiny hats and shiny shoes in their store downtown, downtown Freeport, Woolworth. I'm gonna give you an example. Woolworth. They say they had one doctrine where the Negroes love to spend money on expensive stuff. So we'll let them Negroes come into our stores. Now they like to tell us that Jim Crow was ancient history or all that racism. No, Negro. Any person that tell me that, I'll tell them you a lie, because guess what? My mama, who's still alive, she'll be 75 this year,
Right.
could not go downtown to Woolworth where her mother worked at and eat in that restaurant. So this not ancient history. This is recent history.
It's history.
So now we're sitting up here as black people. We're looking for Jesus to come back down and say, well, if I was Jesus, Pastor, I wouldn't come back to earth. Look what happened to him the first time. They killed him. At that Jesus came to the Cooper Road, them niggas were robbing. For real.
Mr. Ross, we go to conversion, man. Let's go to conversion. I gotta pay these bills. We go to conversion. We'll be right back.
All right.
If Mr. Ross is with us, he's going to be on this show talking about the network, and we're going to move forward with that. All right, we'll be right back.
I'll always take care of you. Hey, little bear. Gonna be a good boy?
Okay, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. I'm thinking I'm on my real new behind new. My fault.
To have and from this day forward.
Come on, baby.
I'll be there by your side.
Oh.
I'm gonna love you forever.
Hey, man.
I'll be there. You don't have to worry.
Get it right at Rice's with 4th of July savings going on now. Save up to 40% on special buy appliances, plus get up to $600 back with purchase of select appliance bundles. Save up to $500 on select Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and Tempur-Pedic mattress sets, and get a free gift with select mattress purchases. Plus, get in-store savings on barbecue grills from Weber and the Big Green Egg. The people, the products, the prices, that's what you'll love about Rice's. Rice's Appliance and Bedding Center, your local experts.
It's the July 4th celebration at
All right, we back now. We back. We did a short commercial. We saw we cut off the July 4th special, but we'll catch up next time on it and we'll move out of there. We're back. We're talking about political talk, folks, tonight, and we got Mr. Robert with us, who's going to be with us every week, every day, every week, Monday through Friday, from at 2:00 every day for political EFI Television Network talk. So we're back now. We're gonna stay on this a little bit, but we just giving you a preview of what's going to be coming. We're going to be touching on some very important topics, and we're just brushing up on some things. The topic, we're kind of like introducing you to what's going to start next week, Monday. We're going to be starting up Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. with EFI Television Network, EFI Television Network Political Talk. So we're going to touch for an hour. We're going to be here for an hour. We're going to be touching bases with about history. We're going to bring history, news. We're going to be bringing clips to show you things out the system. We are not a government hater. We are not. But we are going to be talking about government issues, political issues, how we have been done in our communities, how we got family members in prison for wrongfully imprisonment. We're going to literally be talking about some things literally that's going on. And so we invite you to come out and be with us. 2 o'clock p.m. I know some of you going to be at work, but you'll be able to watch it right here on the different platforms that we're going to be introducing that at a later time this week with advertisement by way of video and flyer. So we're going to be bringing you some news. So, Mr. Robert, we left off at dealing with the structure, how they have informed it, the minority woman, the Negro woman, to seek herself to be above the Negro man. What I have a problem with, they are gladly accepted anything. How is it that you would want to accept something over the Negro man? And you're like, why is it? As we talk political, but yet talk, about the home as well. Why is it? And I think it still take a woman to pretty much answer, but we can talk more from the political side. Why is it so important for a woman to feel like she have the authority over the home and over the Negro man, as you explained earlier? That the system is designed for her to do that. So she can try to keep the Negro man in line. And this is true because it goes all the way back to Kenzie. When Kunta would run away and try to get a better place, she would lay in the bed and have a secret conversation in bed with her master and tell him everything that Kunta Kinte was doing and his plan. So,
well, it's because again, the woman is the bearer of life. She brings really the women. Women, think about when the Creator created all these animals. He created Adam.
mhm,
Adam sat back and looked at them giraffes having sex. He looked at the monkeys having sex, and Adam was sitting back watching them. And we ain't gonna say what he probably was doing, but God, what did God say? It's not good for man to be alone.
this is
So
true.
you control a population. Look throughout the Bible, the Quran, the Torah. The women really control and manipulate the men. That's why they say behind every great man there's a woman.
Right.
But in our situation, they use the woman to destroy the black men because they gave her the power. Keep in mind, it wasn't just black women. At one point, white women couldn't vote.
This is
White women couldn't work jobs. So now we have come so far that we have a generation of 31-year-old grandmothers,
wow.
meaning that they done took the man out the house. This little girl living with her single mom, and I'm not judging single mom because I'm a single father, and it's hard, but this little girl gets pregnant at 12 years old. When she gets 24, her daughter now is 12, and she's pregnant. So now you got 3 generations of women in the house. The mother is 30, 32, 30 whatever. She's a grandmother at 32. Now, if she have a little boy, guess what? That little Negro around there playing with dogs. He not playing with G.I. Joes. Mama ain't finna buy all, she ain't got no money to buy all them toys for Christmas. So little Negro go in there and play with Barbie. This is why you see the rise of homosexuality
right
amongst our people, because you got a bunch of little boys being raised by women. They're emotional. These little Negroes around here, I'm gonna be real. I got a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing their generation. If
Nothing
the
like
children are our future, we are in trouble.
we are in trouble.
We are in trouble.
Serious
Because now,
trouble.
these little Negroes, all right, let me go back and give you again. The worst thing that ever happened to all humanity in America, but in particular, our children, believe it or not, was technology, the internet, these cell phones. We like to think our children are so smart because mama busy trying to get Mr. Johnson up the street, the one who be cutting everybody yard, to come over and buy some cereal for her children. And you know what she got to do to get that cereal. But anyway, she gives the little baby who's 2 years old this cell phone. This baby, all he got to do is say SpongeBob. And everything that SpongeBob gonna come up. Ask that little retarded Negro or white boy to spell SpongeBob at 3 years old. He can't do it. So now what is happening, you have a phone. Why do you think they call it an Android? These devices, and not just the kids, it's us. Grown folks too can't even spell now. Because remember when we were kids, Pastor, I think me and you talked about it. When we were kids, we had that rotary dial phone.
Right.
You had to literally, in order to call Muddeal, you had to know Muddeal number.
Yeah,
you had to sit there.
Yeah.
Man, we remembered almost 100 numbers.
That's right.
Now, in our heads. I still can remember my grandmama's phone number from 50 years ago, 424-9735.
Hold on. And I'm with you. But 318-425-0211. What's that number?
Time? Wait a minute. The time downtown.
You understand? It's crazy. But if you ask these young folks, what's the number? They can't tell you without their devices.
Yeah, and this is what happens now. They say to say these kids smart. This is the dumbest generation because they cannot no longer critically think. They're used to playing these video games. They're used to listening to this rap music. They're listening to everything, sex, drugs, and violence. So hence, when they're in public in a pressure situation, they cannot critically think.
Nope.
Why is our kid failing at a rate that they are when in reality, all you got to do is use that cell phone? Man, think about it, Apostle. When we were kids, if we'd have had cell phones, none of us would have failed. No classes, because you can use this same cell phone that you listen to that crazy rap music to dumb yourself down. You can use that cell phone to figure out how to build a rocket propulsion system. But our kids don't do that.
And get rich. Rather than try to get through that, they're being sucked in by these devices.
Yeah. Why do you think they call it an Android?
And then try to imitate the life that they see that's on TV.
So hence, when they're in a high pressure,
you get it.
Go ahead, say it again, Pastor.
I said they're being sucked in by these devices and TV. They believe that they can do this without working.
But they believe these kids are walking around right now like it's a game of Grand Theft Auto. These kids cannot critically think in pressure situations. I teach my son, I try to get him to understand. Son, in any elevated or pressure situation, you have 5 seconds to make the right decision.
Right.
But with these phones, these computers, the movies, the music, they're now responding off what they're hearing and seeing on these devices. So hence, when they out there in the street in a pressure situation, they don't think about it like, man, I got to go home or this and that. No, they pulling out pistols bigger than your arm, shooting each other like it's a big video game.
I was talking to someone down there in Shreveport. He said that a woman was at a gas station pumping her gas, and the young man asked her for a cigarette, and he looked like he was underage, and she said, "No, I'm not giving you a cigarette. You're underage. You have no business smoking." Do you not know that when she got ready to pull off and got to the edge of the street to pull off, that the young man took a gun and shot the poor woman car, almost killed her because she would not give him a cigarette right there in Shreveport.
I'm gonna be real. I don't believe in violence, but a lady asked me one time, This was about 2 years ago. She asked me, "So you telling me, Mr. Robert, if my son swung on you, you would hit him?" I'm like, first of all, ma'am, if you was teaching him right, he would not swing on an adult. But if your son swung on me, I'm gonna try to break every bone in his face because you have to, man. Today there's no discipline. These kids are running around here with no sense of discipline. And then if you have little boys, the only real think about this: these little Negroes will sit up and glorify a nigga that just came home from the penitentiary as opposed to their cousin who just spent 6 years, got a doctorate degree, and he's a doctor. And everybody at the family reunion, everybody talking about Uncle JoJo, who just did 40 years in the prison. And Uncle JoJo is the one, when you had a family reunion, you got Uncle JoJo and you got Uncle Tammy. Both of them been in prison. Uncle JoJo is the one who was a gangster coming home telling your kids that everything was cool. And every time he comes to the family reunion, everybody hiding their purse. And then Uncle Tammy is the one who coming home, and with that family reunion, everybody looking for their kid. So we have two types of males right now who are basically guiding our children. They don't want to hear you and I. They don't want to hear nothing that's really going to spark their intellect because they're so used to the culture now. Think about it. We as black people, I'm saying this, Pastor, I got to agree, because I hear him coming. I hear. Not going to show you something.
We get ready to get off.
Pastor.
Yes.
When they bought our people, first of all, they try to tell us that they bought a lot of people. They bought a lot of people from Africa, but do you realize black people was already over here? We had our language, we had our culture, we had our religion, we had our own recipes, we had our own bedtime stories. We had a culture. Now we have none of that.
Right.
We have been given a culture of death, violence, chaos, and destruction.
We was never the type of people who would commit such behavior. We was a peacemaker, and we had a good relationship with the Indians. We had a very strong relationship with the Indians. And this particular nationality came in and brought a major division and caused chaos, which produced civil wars on this very land of the United States. Folks, that's our time. We got to go. Mr. Robert has been a very great inspiration in this, and we're going to look forward to hearing from him starting next week with us, and as we prepare to get off into this political talk, and we're going to deal with some deep things starting next Monday. That date is going to be, we're looking it up now. It should be putting on the prompt here shortly. Let me see, they're moving slow, so let me go here and pull the date up. But the day was our kickout day to advertise to you what we have coming up. And so the 17th next week, we're going to be coming to you live at 2 o'clock, starting that day, Monday through Friday. We're going to give you an hour of hot news. We're going to be watching other shows and get information so we can come back and talk about it and keep you up to date with the latest news and talk about political talk. This is not a show where we're going to be sitting around the table and talking about lollygagging with opinion. We don't want opinion. We want facts and proper news to give you so you can begin to have news that is not diluted and held back from
exactly
the reality of the truth of the news that was coming to your very front door. We thank you, Mr. Robert. We're going to get out of here now, and we're going to sign off, and we want the people to know that it's going to be an epic show, man. It's going to be live talk right here, political talk, right here on EFI Network. Y'all have a good night as we sign out. Take care of yourself and love one another.
I love you, Apostle. I'm going to call you
Welcome
short.
to EFI Television Networks. Scan the QR code for more information.
Thanks for watching.